Hiya guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sean Hills and this is A Soul's Experience, a channel dedicated to helping the human race remember who we really are. Excuse me, I've just eaten a chocolate croissant because I'm currently stuck in traffic, driving cross country, cross state I should say. No, cross county, we don't have states, we have counties. Cross county, and I'm just getting over a really nasty cold, so my nose is all bunged up. But anyway, never mind all of that. We got important business to discuss. I really need to blow my nose. We got important business to discuss. And that business is such that the world is about to go crazy. But not crazy as in everyone goes doolally. Something's about to happen within the next few months, I believe. It definitely happens this year, there's no getting out of it. Something happens this year that none of us have actually quite seen before. And this video isn't to scare you, because it isn't a planet killer, it isn't an extinction event, nothing like that happens. But the reason all of these prophecies and things have been talking about the end times for so long is because there is almost an apocalyptic event.
Keep right to continue on
coming.
M5.
But it's not like wiping out the human species. It's an apocalyptic event for old systems and old ways of being. So for the longest time now, hundreds of thousands of years, humans, Homo sapiens, have had their little tribes, we've had our little borders, and we've gone around and done whatever we've done to each other for hundreds of thousands of years in the name of territory, in the name of religion, in the name of beliefs, and just differences. In the name of difference, we've had wars. You know what's happened in the human history. It's not been great. Yes, within the human evolution, there's been pockets of greatness. But the overall theme, if you had to look at human beings on the planet,
Continue on M5 for 5 miles.
and say, right, you know the game Top Trumps, where you have all a list of different things, and if your points are higher than that points, you win that round. Well, the human top trump card, what would it say? Love at the top? It might say 35 points. And then it might have understanding underneath that, 10 points. It might have patience underneath that, 5 points. And then it might have violence underneath that, 95 points. You know, whoa, I'm calling your tree out on violence. Your tree, 2 points on violence. I beat it with my 95 point human trump card because we're good. That's what the human trump card would look like. Violence would be at the top, and love would be second, believe it or not. Love would be second, because that's what human beings are. The old human being, the old Homo sapien, is a protector and a lover of families and a lover of their children, their offspring. But the way they protect them is by using violence, because there are dangerous forces out there that are going to try. Some dangerous forces are going to try to hurt some people. That's the world we live in. And it's created this self-defense human being, this Homo sapien that is willing to take the life of anyone who threatens the life of them. And that's the law of the land, that's the law of nature. It's the law of the world at the minute. But that has changed and is changing every single day. So how is it changing, and how can it change? And what is the change that we're seeing? Where are human beings going? What are we doing? You know, what's the point of all of this striving to become better, to become greater than we was the day before? Not in necessarily a physical way or a mental way or an emotional way or a spiritual way, but in every way possible, wholly. There's a difference between people that focus all their energy on one specific piece of their life and they excel in that part of their life, but they're an absolute mess in the rest of it. Yet their main focus, what they show the world, what they show social media, is this 10% of greatness that they have inside of them. And then they try to block out the negative side through coping mechanisms. If I'm being honest, humans love a coping mechanism. And coping mechanisms come in all kinds of ways. And part of the awakening, part of becoming a spiritual being, a spiritual human being, I should say, part of that is recognizing that we're not perfect on the outside or the inside. But it's about recognizing that there is a perfect piece of us somewhere, but we've buried it. We've buried it underneath judgment of ourselves and others, hatred of ourselves and others, loathing of ourselves and others. We've buried the divine spark so deep, and not just us, we can't blame ourselves here. The people around us, the snide little comments, the little remarks, the little jokes that they think are harmless, that actually stick and hurt our feelings deeply, wound us, especially when we're younger. People don't know the power of their words. They really don't know the power of their words. I guarantee you, if you're listening to this video now, if you really think about it, you could think of a time where someone said something to you maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago. And there's still a little piece of you that is like, why did they have to say that? Why did they have to say that? You know, I still think about little tiny things that, why could that person just humour me for that moment? Why did they have to put me down? Why did they have to kill my self-belief? You know, I still think about it from 30 years ago. Some people that were really, you know, supposed to love me, really dismissive of me and really put me down for many years. And the opposite of encouragement, let's say. And I grew up with a massive complex and a massive low self-esteem problem, which I still struggle with today. Confidence, getting up in front of people and believing in yourself when you were raised to believe you're no good. So the power of the word is extremely powerful, and we're starting to understand this as spiritual beings. You know, that we're not perfect. And what will happen is the light inside of you, the perfect part of you, will shine bright onto the dark parts of you. And it will highlight what needs healing. Now, this is where a lot of people get caught out. A lot of people fall into depression and guilt because they have a spiritual awakening and then it feels like their behaviour can go 10 steps backwards. But what has actually happened is behaviours that you've kind of pushed to the background and you actually haven't dealt with them yet. You've pushed them to the background and you might not be behaving in a certain way, but them negative emotions and them negative traits are still inside of you. You've buried them. You're displaying someone who hasn't got them traits, which could be a million times better than what you was doing before. If you have negative traits and then you display negative traits, you know, but a lot of us can get to the point where we have these negative things inside of us, but we can act very, very, very well on the outside. We can wear our masks extremely well. The world would never know half of our problems because we wear our smiles and people just assume, yep, they're good. But when you have your awakening, that falseness of living, it's false because there's one truth inside of you and there's another truth outside of you, and that is out of balance. It's out of whack. It's in dis-ease, which creates disease. And so you can recognize this, and it becomes very, very clear through your behaviors. They can become erratic after a spiritual awakening, your behaviours can become a bit erratic. They can not make a lot of sense. It feels like you've just literally given up on life. You go back to how you used to be. What's really happened is now the light is shining so bright, them negative parts of you, the dark parts of you, they can no longer be hidden. You can no longer live with them in your heart because you know who you are. What you say out of your mouth, what the world sees, you want it to correspond with what you're thinking in your head. You don't want to be nice to people and then slag them off in your head, because it just doesn't feel productive at all to be like that. You understand that you don't have to pretend to be everyone's friend all of a sudden. That if you don't vibe with someone energetically, you just stop being around them. You don't need to keep pretending, because if you do that, right, if you're living in that way, you're not living in truth. And when you wake up to the truth of who we truly are, eternal souls, eternal beings that have come here for multiple reasons. Some have come here to just experience a physical life. Some have come here to actually try to better this world for others and for ourselves, so that our souls can return to a beautiful earth. If we're being honest, let's be honest. Would you rather have an earth like the one we see now, where yes, we can live in pockets of peace, but we hear stories of horrendous acts against men, women and children and animals and nature. Horrendous acts on nature and the planet and our species and all species on the planet. There's been horrendous selfish greedish acts, greedy acts, and I don't want to live on a planet like that. Or I want to live on a planet like that, but for one reason: so I can try and help it, so I can try and fix the planet. And it's a massive responsibility, but that is exactly what is happening at the minute. Because the plan for the Homo sapien is to not remain a Homo sapien. This is where it gets interesting. The plan for the Homo sapien is to become the Homo galacticus. We are designed to become intergalactic travelers from universe to universe across the galaxies. That is where our future lies. Not to be just stuck on one planet, because the human being has the ability to house the divine into the physical and to walk in the divine in the physical realms. And if we can do that on a place like Earth, then that gives us the strength, the knowledge and the wisdom and the ability to use what we have learned here to help other planetary systems that have gone astray. Because suffering, we've been told, is necessary. But I never ever ever think that is going to sit fully in the hearts of humans that have suffered, like myself, like yourselves. Yes, we can learn, but surely through our divinity and our love, we can find a more gentle way of learning soul lessons rather than what we see today. And I want that for humans. I want that for our species. A more harmonious, gentle world where we can still learn and thrive and grow, but in a way that is conducive with our love and not conducive with evil. That's what I want to see. So I want to thank you all for being down here
in 1.5 miles
with me
at
and
junction
all of us at this great time
29,
of
take the
awakening.
A30 exit to Honiton, Exeter Airport.
Because it is tough, but it is beautiful. And if there's one thing we like on Earth, it's a little bit of beauty. So till next time, please take care, much love, goodbye, and I will see you soon. Take care.
There's not much to do when all I can is thinking about you. Not doing well, don't know where you are, 'cause you're not here. It's been way too long.